Hi, thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm doing a spooky set of Halloween nails with lots of hand-painted nail art. And because each nail has fairly detailed hand-painted artwork, I've split it into two, so this is part one of two. And I've also quickly shown you some of the acrylic application here, so that once we get into the video we are just focusing on the hand painting. What I did on each of the nails is I put some black acrylic as my background color and some glow-in-the-dark glitter that I got off Amazon, and then I just capped the nails and filed them into shape. So let's get into the art, and I hope you enjoy. To start off with, I just mixed some of the colors that I knew I'd be needing for this art. So I've got a bit of red and yellow to make an orange, and blue and red for a nice dark purple. I wasn't happy with my orange color, so I've gone back, and you'll see me now adding a bit more yellow just to brighten it up and bring it to the right shade of orange. I am using the Light Elegance gel paints. I really like working with these paints. I like the consistency, and I like that I can change things up the way I need to in order to work with them. They're very pigmented and they cure so beautifully. I never have issues with wrinkling. So I'm coming in with a medium length detailer brush. I think it's my Profiles Backstage detail brush, and I'm just doing like an N with long squiggly tails, and around that I am bringing a bit of, I'm kind of copying the shape but not quite, bringing it out just after the curve, because this is the hood of my, I suppose it would be a Grim Reaper, but some kind of scary cloaked figure with, you'll see now, his arms going to be sticking out, pointing across on the next nail. And so I'm just bringing in this very, I would say, loosely painted cloak type shape, making sure to leave spaces so that when the nails are in the dark, that figure will form a silhouette for me. And here I'm just bringing his arm across, and the sleeve of the cloak, which I want to look tattered and torn and well worn. So I'm painting little jagged lines and a very simple hand with a finger pointing towards the rest of the nails. The nice thing about doing hand painted nail art is you don't have to be good at all the fine details, because it's on such a teeny tiny scale. Your mind fills a lot of that in for you. As I'm working along, once I get to the point that I'm happy with something and I'm scared I might smudge it, I either flash cure it or give it a full cure, depending on how much gel paint I have and what I'm planning to layer on top of it. So since I'd basically painted the whole cloak, I decided to full cure that time, and here I'm coming in with my dark purple, adding a bit of black just to darken it up a little bit more. I decided he needed a dramatic purple coat, and the details under the cape of the coat I'm doing in black. So here I'm just marking out some semicircle type shapes to help me leave a space for the eyes. I'd like them to be glowing under that cape in the dark. And I've kind of done a skew rectangle with a line down the middle, and those hollows will be the nose. So almost like a skull's, where you've got that open triangle type look. And I've done the same thing with the mouth, leaving an open gap, and I'm just filling everything else in black. So giving it a nice even coat, making sure that I've covered all the other spots nicely, and you'll start to see the face emerging as more of the blank areas are covered in. And here I'm just pulling tiny little lines up into that mouth area to kind of give you an idea of creepy teeth or something like that, so that the mouth is open and the glow is coming through those teeth. And adding black onto my pointing hand. And here I'm coming in and filling in the rest of that cloak, letting some of the white shine through, so I'm not worried about it being a perfect coverage. I want everything to look tattered and torn and have random spots on it and that type of thing. This isn't a pristinely dressed creature. It's here to scare and terrify you. What I am making sure I do is I'm doing all my brush strokes in the direction that I want the cape to look like it's flowing. And where I feel it needs a little bit more darkness, without cleaning my brush, I just pick up some black paint, pick up some purple, mix the two together, or just straight black, and just kind of fill in shadows so that there's a subtle movement to the fabric of this cape. But again, you're working on such a minute scale, you don't need to worry about every single detail being perfect. The human eye is a wonderful thing, and it fills in those bits and pieces for you. And here I'm just finishing off the sleeve. Also very simple brush strokes, very easy. Just giving it that look. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to give it a cure and start working on my next element, which is going to be a jack-o'-lantern. So I start off with some of my orange paint and mark out where I want this jack-o'-lantern's eyes to be. Again, I want the glow from the glow in the dark to be shining through those eyes and giving me a silhouette of the hand above and the pumpkin below. So as neatly as I can, I'm just giving it scary eyes and pointy teeth, and I'm bringing those teeth all the way to the edge of the nail. Because it's so small and it's got so much detail, I'd rather have show more of an aggressive face, and let the sides of the pumpkin go off the sides of the nail than try to squeeze everything in and give myself less surface area to add the details to the face that I'd like to add. So there, the top teeth are almost done, and I'm just again doing uneven zigzags for the bottom to show myself where I'm going to leave it open for this glow, to the glow in the dark glitter to shine through the open mouth. Now I'm just giving myself a rough outline of where that pumpkin, the top of the pumpkin would go, and how I want it to sit in relation to the sleeve, and filling it in. Then I thought I would take a slightly bigger, and by slightly it's not very big at all, as you'll see, but a bigger flat brush, just to fill in that pumpkin color. And it wasn't giving me enough coverage. You'll see soon I go back to my detailer brush, because I can pick up and spread the paint a little bit easier. Although this covers a larger surface area at one time, the coverage just wasn't on the level that I wanted it to be, because I want to make sure that I've solidly covered the glitters on these parts, because if that glow in the dark shines through here as well, you're going to lose the effect of the mouth and the eyes. So as you can see, I'm back to my detailer brush, and I'm just filling in all those details nicely. Not too worried about making the pumpkin look like too much of a pumpkin at this stage. I just want to get that solid orange background, and my next layer I'll come in with more details. Interestingly enough, this is the first set of Halloween nails I've ever done. In South Africa, Halloween is not really something that's celebrated, definitely not on the level that is celebrated in the US. And since most of my nail career has been in the USA, I mean, in South Africa, sorry. I've only recently moved to the USA. It was never really something that I needed to do. So here I'm coming in with some black gel paint, and I'm outlining the eyes, and I'm going to outline the teeth as well, just to give it that little bit of dimension around them, make them pop out that little bit more. But the fun part with adding more details to make it look more scary, and that is coming up next. And I must say, I really did enjoy creating this set of nails and just letting my imagination go with what I thought would look spooky and work well with the whole Halloween idea, and these glow-in-the-dark glitters, and just really just let my imagination go and started playing with the paints and having fun. So soon you will see me making a nice mess all over the top, because a solid bright orange pumpkin just wasn't doing it for me. I needed to dirty him up and make him scary. So here I'm deciding where the stem will go, and just roughly placing that in the correct spot. And then I decided I didn't like it, it went too far, so I just used my other brush to wipe it away and redefine the shape of that stem a little bit. Now I'm starting to add some details to this pumpkin, where it will dent in, and which parts you want to jump out at you more. Anywhere that you want it more recessed, you want to have your darker colors, and anywhere that you want it to jump out at you needs to be lighter, just as a rule of thumb. And what I've started doing here is just adding a small amount of base coat in with my black gel paint so that it gives me the ability to almost layer it on in shadows and darkness without losing my orange completely, just giving him more of a spooky, scary, menacing feel. So that bright orange is slowly but surely turning to a dirty orange, and where I feel I've lost too much of it, I just kind of pick up some orange. You'll notice I'm not cleaning my brush in between. I'm just picking up the colors that I feel I need and just letting them kind of blend together, because I don't want anything too defined. I want it to just feel more organic and natural and in the shadows. And only once that you've got the glow from behind, those details I want sharp. The rest of it I really want it to just feel kind of dark and a little bit unsettling. We'll see how well I do this, but that's the feeling that I'm going for with these nails. Bringing in some of those curves around the bottom and at the top with the black, and really just pushing the paint around until I'm happy with the effects that I see. Since I started adding black, I haven't cured these nails, so everything's a wet on wet technique, and I'm really just playing with it and seeing what kind of effects I can get. And once I'm happy with the effects, I will pop it in and cure it. So, you know, when you do hand painted art, there's a couple ways you can go about it. A lot of nail artists like to cure each step and perfect each step. I'm happy to work messy and build up to the point that I'm happy with the final appearance. I don't care if the parts underneath don't work, as long as what I get in the end works. And the nice thing with this is, anything you don't like, once you've cured it, you can come in and paint over it anyway. But for now, you're just playing and seeing what kind of effect you can get, and particularly with a dark and scary jack-o'-lantern, he doesn't need to be perfect. You want him to look gnarly and bumpy and a little bit grimy, and here I'm adding in almost like little eyebrows just to show that he's not a happy pumpkin. And on his teeth and some of the other areas, I'm just adding a little bit of yellow just to make those stand out that little bit more above the eyes. And making sure anything I've moved that I'm not happy with, I just fix and give it a cure. Now that that's cured, I'm coming in with my yellow, and I've added some base coat into the yellow, and I kind of want to give him a bit of a glowy feel around the areas that where the light from the glow in the dark glitters is going to shine through. So I'm very roughly just putting some of that translucent yellow gel paint down and pulling it out of some of the corners of the teeth and through the eyes as well. You'll see later I felt I put a little bit much in, so I also take this opportunity to just perfect some of that shading and the lines around the edges of the pumpkin, making sure everywhere looks right to me. And I've got enough of a glow, enough lightness, enough darkness and that he just looks as scary as I can make him in such a teeny tiny scale. Here I came in with the cleanup brush and just removed some of that excess polish. Like I said before, I want to make sure that my glow from the glow in the dark can shine through those eyes. And once I was happy, I gave him a cure, and here I'm coming into my cloaked figure, and I'm just adding some highlights with a bit of yellow and white. The translucent yellow didn't really want to show up so nicely, so I added a little bit of white and also made that translucent. I'm putting a few glow dots in around the facial features just so that they pop out a bit, and brushing some streaks into that cloak just to give it a bit of movement so it's not a flat cloak. I also know I can see I've put glitter in behind where my figure is, so I want it to look like he's glowing there too, so I've given him a bit of a translucent yellow outline here and there, and just putting in whichever colors and shades, mostly highlights at this point, in where I feel that they're needed. Again, just to enhance the effect of the glow glitters and the spookiness and all of that. I want him to stand out. It's not too much dark on dark. Here I'm also just bringing up a bit of a sleeve and giving his sleeve like a little oval shape underneath the hand, so that the detail of the hand pointing a finger and arm coming through there can show, and the details of the hand, just giving those a little bit of a highlight as well. And defining that. Once I'm happy with that, I decide I need a little bit of brown. Oh, not yet. Still fiddling with my Reaper, my cloak. Afterwards I thought I should have maybe put a sickle in, but I'm happy with how it turned out. So I've taken some of my purple and some of my yellow to mix like a light brown color, just to bring in onto that stalk. I felt the detail of that was getting a little bit lost, but I didn't want it to jump out as much of the rest as the rest of the pumpkin features. And once I've covered the stalk, I come in with a little bit of black and just add a few black details back, all of that, and once I'm happy I cure that as well. That's it for this video. Please join me for part 2, where we'll finish off this design, see how everything works together, and see how they glow. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Cheers.